Hi everybody, welcome to the thumb. So today, I think I'm gonna kind of go over all the details of my, what do I want to call it? I'm gonna call it a mobile wood yard. You know, like the wood processor, which I always take to the log pile wherever it's at, and you know, cut it and just bring home split wood and put it away. Works out pretty good. But I guess yeah, I was in the middle of um, sharpening my chainsaw when you tuned in. I guess I'll start with this thing. I can't remember what they call it. It's a 4-in-1 tool or 2-in-1 tool. I can't remember. Maybe it says on there. No, it doesn't really say. But it's kind of cool because I bought it when I bought my chainsaw because I knew I needed something to sharpen it with. But it's a little quirky when you go to use it because you got to kind of figure out the angle and all that stuff, and then when you do the opposite side, you flip it over. But it's very handy. I've changed the files on it once, but yeah, it's got basically it does both steps at once. It's got the center blade is for center file is for the rakers, and then you got one for the tooth itself or the cutting part. And then these are just, they kind of look like key stock that rests on the next tooth so you don't go in too far or whatever. Yeah, works really good. And it doesn't take off, you know, like I think if you take your chain to a professional sharpener guy, I think they take off too much because like my brother doesn't believe me, but I've got an extra one of these for this long bar, but I got an extra chain for it, but between the two of them I haven't wore out one yet. And then I'm on my second chain for actually I've wore out one bar already, but I've only wore out one chain, so I don't know if that's good statistics or not. This is actually the second chain or the first second chain I bought, the original plus this one, and yeah, it's still got a lot of life left in it. I think that's mainly because of this. I mean, it's kind of expensive. I can't remember what I paid for it. Maybe 40 bucks, but I don't know how much a chain is. It's been so long since I bought one, so I don't know. But if you can not buy as many chains, and this is kind of handy. I always bring it in and put it in the vise. Let me just flip this around and I'll give you a. So yeah, I always put it in the vise when I do it, and then yeah, just do each blade. I usually, there's my yellow mark. I always mark it so I know when I've been around once. So yeah, I do it one way and then go on the opposite side of the bar and do it the opposite way. Yeah, this is a Stihl MS391. It's right now it's got I think that's a 28-inch bar that's on it. It came with a 20, which I usually keep on it most of the time, and this one is I put it on for the wood processor, and it 90% of the time it'll get through any log that'll fit through the processor. If it's got a knot in it or something a little quirky with the log, it won't. Maybe you might have to knock it off a little bit or something. Yeah, I don't really want to like play favorites on my dealers and stuff like that, but I can't really remember where I bought this, but yeah, this has been a good saw. The only thing that I've ever had trouble with, actually, and I had trouble with it twice, was the coil. I'd use it one day, go out the next day, it wouldn't start, no spark. So then I'd have to run to town, order a coil because they didn't have one, and so yeah, I had to do that twice. Now I keep one right over there in my toolbox. Just now it'll probably never go bad again, but it's really not that hard to change. It's 10-minute job, change it, so it's not that big a deal. It's kind of, I don't know, maybe $100 to buy it. I can't remember, but yeah, so that's the chainsaw. Okay, I'm back out here at the wood yard, getting a pretty good bite out of the pile. Yeah, so as far as the equipment goes, this is my main tool. I really like it. I mean, I've had it for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years now. It's just small enough you can do about anything with it, but it's just big enough that it's got enough power to do about anything you want to do with it. So I kind of abuse the little guy sometimes. I mean, like I pull a 12-foot disc with it once in a while, or probably more often than I should. The one thing that I'm afraid is going to happen someday, like this has no problem lifting these logs. Let me turn this around for you. There. So it has no problem lifting these logs. They're like, I don't know, probably 30 foot long, and there's 2 of them, and it'll lift them fine. But what I worry about is, yeah, sometimes if your front tire drops in a hole or whatever, and it gets to rocking on there, these arms will just sit there and kind of tweak back and forth. I haven't had anything snap yet, but I know someday I'm going to regret doing what I'm doing, because like I said, it's strong enough it'll lift it fine, but whether that's the right thing to do, probably not. This little log grapple, I made that a couple of years ago. I originally made it so just this part would bolt onto my my fork frame. The reason I made it instead of buying one is it's hard to find one that's well built but yet light, you know, and the heavier the piece of equipment is, the less you can lift with it, because it's already heavy. And the little guy only lifts, I don't know how much, I'm guessing around 1,000 pounds. I don't know. Like, it won't lift a tote full of rye. It won't, even a half a tote full of rye, it won't lift it. So yeah, so it's got its limitations, which is fine. Everything's got its limitations. Yeah, so yeah, it's a 3038, which is almost 38 horse. This little box, I think I kind of pointed that out on a video or 2 back, but it's actually filled up with concrete to about right here. And the reason I did that is because the tires aren't loaded. And if I ever have a bad problem with a tire, I'll probably go ahead and load them both. But then I'll probably build a different box just like this without the concrete in it. Yeah, it's got the chainsaw holder in it, and ew, my board must have fell out. Well, it didn't hurt anything. Anyway, yeah, with this long bar, it sticks through the bottom of it. And, anyway, yeah, that's pretty cut and dried. Yeah, it's got the grease hitch sockets in it. Weighs about 500 pounds, I figured, with the steel and the concrete. It's got, like, I want to say there's 8 bags of ready mix in there, the Quikrete stuff. Yeah, oil can / gas can. Yeah, I guess there's not really any other. Yeah, to run my grapple, I just ran these 2 hoses right up to the front, and I put a quick coupler on it so I can unhook it when I'm not using it. And, yeah, and I just use those remote outlet or remote lever things there. Works good. I'm happy with it. Is there anything I'm not happy with? Yeah, probably. I guess if I was to change anything, if I just had extra money laying around, I would probably load the tires, but then I would also put ag tires on it, because these things, they're fine, they're great in the yard and stuff because they don't cut the yard up, but yeah, they don't give you any traction like in that mud. The ag tires would probably walk right through it, but yeah, these will just pack up and spin. Yeah, now the I think I kind of went over this a little bit on a different video too, but the wood processor is, I really like this. This really takes the work out of things. Yeah, it's got this cable winch, rope winch, whatever you want to call it, on it, and I usually just strap it around. You know, obviously you gotta move that at least twice when you're bringing a log up to it. Sometimes I'll just take the tractor and just set the end of the log right on the end of this chute here, and then I only have to unhook once, or hook up once, whatever. Real happy with it. Sometimes it's a little, I think it's a little underpowered. But there again, if it had more power, it'd probably break something, because if I get a good log that jams into the wedge, it'll actually, you can see the frame kind of tweaking a little bit, and yeah, nobody wants that. The 4-way wedge works pretty good. You've seen on the last video there where I was using it. Big logs, you gotta, move stuff around and maybe split them 2 or 3 more times, which is fine. It still fills the trailer up pretty fast. Oh, the other thing I don't like, so when them logs come up, they come up the chute, and if it's a really long log, the angle of it, basically it's constantly changing. But the angle of this thing, where the saw goes in, is fixed. And sometimes, like, you lop off a log, and then it rolls down into the splitter part. Well, then the end of the log might have a big, just a big angle on it, and then so then this plate can't push it straight or squarely into the wedge, and it'll move around, and sometimes the wedge will move up and down on its own and make some nasty noises. That's probably the only real gripe I have with it. And actually, I've kind of decided before I put it away, I might maybe look into customizing something. If I can make it so that if I change the angle, that it won't hit on anything over, so I won't ruin my saw. I think that'd be a pretty good thing. Trailer, yeah, this is just an old, actually my brother-in-law gave me this trailer years and years ago, and it sat out in the weeds before I cut wood, and now I use it a lot. It's really kind of handy because it's got the short sides, so when you're unloading it, you can walk all the way around it and unload it. And actually, with this mud, I was a little disappointed that I couldn't use the big trailer, because my little tractor won't pull it out of the mud. And but actually this little one works good. You got to make more trips, but it's actually easier to unload. I'm getting used to it pretty fast. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm gonna get to work now, and maybe I'll get another couple loads cut today. And appreciate you guys watching, and keep tuning in and keep subscribing, and we'll catch you next time. Take her easy.